Just wanted to pop in here and share some election thoughts. A lot has transpired over the last 2 weeks, and I know for many people, it can feel like these world stage events are chaotic, right? It can feel like there's so much going on. I don't know about my future. I don't know about the safety of my family. I don't know about the security of my future. And so I just posted a reel on this about how 8 years ago I decided to completely and totally disconnect from politics. And the only thing that's happened in my life is that it's gotten incrementally better. It's like when you do not engage with these things, they literally do not exist. How is that possible? Because you are a creator. You literally are at the center of your universe. Reality is going to show you whatever you're agreeing to, whatever you're consenting to. So I always say, you guys know I always say this, we are not all experiencing the same version of Earth. We're not experiencing the same parallel version of Earth and what that feels like to us on a personal level. So what I mean by this is, one person can watch the news and be tuned into the media and feel totally dysregulated, totally energetically disrupted, infiltrated, scared, afraid, and worried. Someone else operating in a completely different consciousness can watch the same thing, be aware of the same thing, but the way they respond to it is different. So at this point, if you are still, if you're recognizing that in your being, the world events that go on create fear inside of you, create a sense of not having control or any sort of insecurity, that's your cue. That's your message from the universe. Hey, you have some work to do, because you still believe in the matrix. You still believe in the illusion of reality more than you believe in your ability to quantum shift and experience that same version of reality differently. For some of us, this is just entertainment. For some of us, we're sort of experiencing this as like neutral observers and bystanders. Now, what I do want to say is, I know this feels real for a lot of people. There's policy, there's healthcare, there's women's rights, there's education and like economy, all these things. And as humans, we can really feel the weight of that. We can really feel the reality of that, and it feels like our future is in the hands of someone else. But I want to give you this hack right here that Source is dropping in. We're going to use the economy for an example. There's been a lot of talk about inflation and prices and this and that and the housing market and these things that are directly connected to our sense of survival. And that's how they pull us into, these debates and these election topics and getting you to operate in separatist energy and choose this person or that person or think this person's going to save you or this party's going to save you. Okay. What Source is saying on this is, whatever's happening, you have the ability to expand yourself, expand your energy field to hold more, to become a larger container for abundance. And my life completely changed when I started thinking like this. So for an example, instead of me complaining about prices being higher, I would just simply go, oh, okay, I have to expand myself to be able to hold that new level, that new tier of abundance, of alignment, of receivership, whatever you want to call it. When you operate like that, you are never a victim or a slave to the matrix. You recognize that with your energy, you control what you allow Source to present in your life. It's about expansion. You can always become a container for more. So we want to use this as an example for how many of us our energy can be siphoned. quite literally our energy can be siphoned, or we can be hijacked into believing that there's this whole external world, this whole system, this whole game, and we have no control. There's nothing we can do about it, right? We're just absolutely doomed. That's a very depressing state of being. And when you are in that frequency, you know what you're doing? You are contributing your life force energy to the matrix and the beings who run and control it. You're saying, I believe in your game more than I believe in my ability to create reality. This is about you remembering that you create your own reality. If I create my own reality, I unsubscribe from the timeline and the versions of reality where these things seem to be out of control, out of my control. And how it works is a vast majority of people could be experiencing a recession, or they could be experiencing the negative effects of a policy or something like that. And on the other end, the way that you would relate to that same, within that same time period could be different. There have been so many talks of recessions and inflation and so many different things over the years. And I look at this stuff and I go, I'm not, in my life, things just keep getting better. I just keep making more money. Every single year, I just keep making more money than I even know what to do with. I just keep attracting more aligned people in my life. I just keep accessing more of my potential. I just keep experiencing more of what's possible and available and what's beautiful in life. I just keep getting closer to source. I just keep getting more freaking key codes. I just keep experiencing more magic. It's about your level of consciousness. It's about your perception. It's about what you're willing to believe. So it's time to unsubscribe. It's time to, you know what? And this is how I approach it. I am completely and totally at peace with whatever collective agreements are happening for the highest expansion of the planet. What I mean by that is there are billions of souls who are still choosing these versions of reality as a gateway to have a specific lesson or to have a specific experience, even if that experience is lack or pain or war or suffering or whatever. When you're at peace with, oh, okay, souls are still choosing that, because that's what Earth is about, right? The playground of Earth is that you can choose within the spectrum between lower vibrational timelines and higher vibrational timelines. So it just comes with the game that people are going to be choosing lower vibrational timelines. If collectively that's happening, I can be at peace with that and simultaneously choose to elect my version of that reality and experience it, while other people are experiencing however they relate to the same circumstances and events. And so in your life, each of us, we have unique contracts in relationship to collective events. So the example that I'm getting is like vaccinations and like that whole thing. And I know this really charged up a lot of people, where a lot of people were either very anti or very pro and this and that. And what Source actually gave me was that every single person has a unique decision to make on that topic based on what their soul is choosing to either learn or experience. There really isn't no wrong or right. There isn't wrong or right. There's simply, in this moment in time, what is your soul putting in front of you so that you can come to a conclusion, a decision, and make a choice that's going to determine how you relate to that experience. So we have to break out of this idea that everybody is experiencing the same thing, that there's good or bad or right or wrong. You have absolutely no idea what somebody should be experiencing. For a lot of starseeds, actually, on that whole vax topic, some folks, it was in their soul plan to go ahead and have their vaccination, whatever, and that basically, like, different star beings and such could do genetic testing or do DNA testing, or that's the type of energy that I'm getting with this, like see what the effects are, almost like an experimentation type thing. We're just expanding you into the broad range of what could actually be happening and why people could be making certain decisions. Why you might have felt called to make a certain decision or not make a certain decision. When you understand this from a higher perspective, you stop attaching yourself to the separatist energy that the Matrix wants you to be in, right? The Matrix wants you to say, well, that's good and that's bad, because that creates conflict, that creates war, that creates chaos, that creates disruption. The proper fifth dimensional way of thinking is to be in a neutrality of understanding that the soul is choosing to have an experience. And whatever that soul is choosing to experience may be beyond the information that I have access to say that it's, for me to even be able to say if it's good or if it's bad or if it's this, or you don't know. You absolutely don't know. Very important, because I know these are the types of conversations and topics that drive people to also be attached to politics. Well, I love this candidate or this person because they were anti this or they were pro this. Okay, you're still operating in separation. You still don't get it. You still don't get that these are all choices for the soul. This is a playground for the soul to have different experiences. So when you pull yourself out of that matrix energy, out of that separate energy, you're operating on sources level. You're operating in universal consciousness. You're operating as an enlightened being. And wherever you go, your frequency has the ability to positively impact the environment, impact those around you, no matter what they believe, what they think, what they're choosing. Okay? And how I've chosen to approach this in my life is I will always have what I need when I need it, and I will always know what I need to know when I need to know it. What I mean by that is there are certain events that if I need to be aware of them, Source will make me aware. Otherwise, not engaging. If there's something that I'm going to need based on something that's going to happen or unfold or a collective decision that's going to be made, the universe will support me with that resource even before I'm aware that I need it. That's alignment. That's pure alignment. Pure alignment is when on a moment-to-moment basis, you are so tapped in, you are so aligned that you receive resources, information, knowledge, support before you're consciously aware that you needed it. That this thing was even going to happen. I remember when I used to work in New York City, and I would have to come in through Port Authority, because at the time I was living in New Jersey. So I would come in through Port Authority, near Times Square, all of that. And this is like my first day working at a really big firm. I'm so excited. Like, this is epic. And I come out of like the Port Authority building, like I get off my bus, and it looks like World War III. You have full on SWAT teams, full on just crazy. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And apparently, literally 3 minutes before my bus pulled in, some guy on the subway tried to like blow everybody up. And I go, interesting that I would miss that whole fiasco by 3 minutes. It's alignment. Think about how many times in your life you just missed something in a positive way. It just happened before you got there. Maybe you were running, you thought you were running late. You couldn't find your keys. You thought you were running late, but really Source created this delay so you could completely avoid something that you didn't need to be a part of. That's alignment. That is how it actually works. So the Matrix is going to tell you, you need to protect yourself. We have to always be protecting ourselves. We need to defend ourselves against this, against that, if you live that way, you will drive yourself absolutely crazy and insane. You will literally go insane. Another story, realistic story. I had this, what was it? I was reading something on my phone, like like spam, like you're on the internet and like these spam articles pop up or something like that. And so this local story of someone who got kidnapped in Brooklyn or something like that. This is like when I was living in New York, and I read it. Usually don't tune into things like that, just completely ignore. I tune into it and I'm like, oh wow, that's really unfortunate. And do you know, another story popped up. Another local story popped up of something tragic. Another local story of something tragic popped up. And I thought, I see how people get trapped in a loop of believing more in the negative polarity than the positive polarity, because reality is an algorithm. If you read it, if you engage in it, if you tune into it, you will see more. And then that's when people say, well, what are you like what are you talking about? You're unaware of all these things that happen. Actually, I am unaware. They actually don't exist in my life and in my world. And people will say that you are delusional. People will think that you are out of touch with reality. People might even say that you're insensitive to things that happen in the world. But does it really help anybody to be aware of these things? Because what I've personally found is, in my life, things are so magical and beautiful. It's like you meet people, they're having a great day, you're having a great day. There's nothing negative happening. It doesn't mean that in the scope of reality that negative things are not happening. It's that on my timeline, on my reality feed, in my algorithm, that's not what I want to see, and that's not what I want to be a part of. I don't want to be a part of it. So I'm going to choose to exist in my timeline, in my reality, where those things are not in existence. They're just not in existence. And someone says, but what about to be aware, to be ready if something happens? This is a really interesting concept. So I want to go back to what I just said about what alignment is. Alignment is, I will know what I need to know when I need to know it. And I will have what I need to have when I need to have it. If I am projecting a negative future, that is what I will attract. If I'm embodied in the present moment and I allow the present moment to then show me, it could be you get an impulse to leave somewhere. You just feel like, I want to leave. You don't really know why. It could be you just have a feeling about something. Or you were going to go somewhere, but then something else comes up and you do something else. These are all moments of alignment that don't require you. Spirit's gonna give you the heads up, right? Spirit, the protection is already built into your spirit. It's that most people, because they're so just clouded, they don't have the ability to recognize that, and then they do end up in a negative experience. But if I know that my protection is built in, if I know that my resources are built in, if I know that Source has the bird's eye view and can see things even before I can even consciously fathom them, I don't need to walk around trying to protect myself. That is a lower density way of operating, because when you try to protect yourself, you actually just vibrate that you're in danger. When you believe that you have to protect yourself, you actually just send out the signal that then would attract a perpetrator, a rapist, a robber, or a form of oppression in some type of way. Okay, this is how the consciousness has been hijacked. I'm going to take it a little bit further with this, and it might ruffle some feathers. I'm getting the example right now of, okay, they're giving me minority shootings. Let's say you watch the news, you're so programmed to believe that this is happening all the time everywhere. Then you go out, you get in your car, and what's vibrating in your subconsciousness is, I might get shot because I'm black. Or I might get pulled over because I'm black. Okay, what do you think happens? You send out that signal, that vibration goes out, and then it meets the officer, the person, whoever, who's going to be a frequency match to that, and thus vibrate into your experience and arrest you or shoot you or kill you or hurt you. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I'm letting you know how quantum reality works. So what do you think the dark magicians of this world do? Put as many things in front of you to get you to unconsciously create a reality that you're unaware of, and then play into the narrative that you were a victim. Deep, I know. Deep. It's fucked up, but it's real. So the same way I'm talking about unsubscribing from politics, I'm also talking about unsubscribing from mass themes of victimization. Okay, Source is now talking about this for women right now as well. Okay, these beings want us to believe that they have control over our bodies, that they have control over our reproductive rights. And I know a lot of people get emotional and passionate about, let's just say, birth control rights, abortion rights, things of that nature, which I totally understand, resonate with that as a woman. However, what Source is expanding us into right now is, if spirit is truly governing my life, is it possible that at the right time, when I'm ready to, I don't know, have a child, that's the example we're going to use, then it will happen, and I can completely and totally bypass that whole game and that whole arena of, well, what if this happens and I'm not ready and this and that, and they're gonna control me and this, and listen, a lot of these experiences are contractual, and they're meant to be a part of your process, right? They're meant to be a part of a lesson or a theme or something that's just in your life to experience. However, the point that we're trying to make is, when you truly see beyond the matrix and you peer back into the fact that spirit is the true manager, spirit is the true governor, you don't ever really feel like these people can control you. Someone says, yes, we don't even need birth control, which avatars teach us. That's funny, because I remember about a year ago, Source told me, hey, this spirit is ready to come through you, has been ready for some time. And then I'm like bargaining, negotiating time. I'm like, I'm not ready. I need like at least a year, blah, blah, blah. And then Source just goes, well, it's going to happen when it's meant to happen. It's going to come when it's going to come. That's just the truth. It's like this illusion of control that we think we have. This illusion of continuously trying to protect ourselves against something. And this is how they get us. This is how they get us to be so attached to their solutions. Like it's all just an illusion. This is what they do. Implant, encode, insert problem, and then implant, insert, encode solution. They create the problem and then they create the solution. But when you're vibrating with spirit, the problem doesn't exist. And if one arises, the solution is instantaneous. Disconnect and reconnect to your soul. Your soul is in charge. They don't want you to think that, but your soul is in charge. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to plan against. There's nothing to overly prepare for even. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this conversation, it's I will have what I need when I need it. That's true abundance. That's true alignment. And I will know what I need to know when I need to know it. If there's a collective event or experience coming up and you need to know about it because it has some relevancy to you, Source will let you know and inform you. You will be prepared. You don't have to worry about that. If there's some resource or something that you need or a move you're going to have to make or a decision, you will have that. You will have what you need to do that when you need it. Divine, yes, someone says universal timing. Divine universal timing. Now imagine if you walk around living this way, there's never anything to worry about. And because there's never anything to worry about and you're never worried, you're never generating, vibrating, sending out signals from your being that something is wrong. And then attracting nonsense, chaos. There was this really amazing Abraham Hicks audio I was listening to a few years ago, and they spoke about how a robber could be robbing a block of houses, and based on your vibration, would skip over your house. And from the moment I heard that, I decided to be the person that whatever negativity, whatever nefarious, malevolent activity, whatever, it would just skip right over me. It would just skip right over me. Someone asked me, am I voting? I am not voting. I think I did vote the last election. Did I? Yeah, I did vote the last election. Did I? My sense of time is just like, I'm like, was that 4 years ago? Was that 8 years ago? Feels same to me. I can't even remember. I think I did not vote in the last election, but I voted in the 2020 election. This election, my soul is completely offline with it. Like, it's just, there's no momentum for me. There's no interest. Now in 2020, there was a strong impulse for me to vote. There was a strong momentum. There was a strong energy. So this goes back to what I was saying about when events have relevancy to you, you will know, because you will feel yourself being engaged to a certain degree or interested. I feel completely disconnected. Like I feel literally like I'm just watching a movie. So I will personally not be voting, but if you feel that you want to, that is okay. That is a part of your process right now. It obviously has some relevancy to your journey, to something that you need to experience or learn or be a part of. So you see, I don't have judgment towards anybody with the decisions that they make for their life. I'm just telling you where I am personally right now. That's where I'm personally at. Now, interestingly, with the turn of events, because I was tuning into the election a few months ago, and I was just asking about, probabilities, and it was so interesting. It was so unclear, and I kept, like, the vibration was just that something unconventional was gonna happen. And I didn't want to put this out there just because it's like, you never know how people respond to things, but I was tuning into an assassination. That was the energy of it, and I go, something's gonna happen. I just knew something was gonna happen, but I also didn't get the very specific details because, again, sometimes we don't need to know everything. We need to be a part of the unfolding of the experience like everybody else, even if you're a channeler or whatever, psychic, whatever you want to call yourself. So I'm like, okay, something's gonna happen. I'm not getting a clear this or that. That means the energy in the field is still calibrating. So interesting that whole Trump thing happened, and I go, oh, okay, that's part of what I was tuning into. But then with this next thing, but it still wasn't clear. It still was like, okay, well, I still don't feel a defined winner. They're not giving me a defined winner. There's something else. There's something more. So with this new Kamala thing coming in, and to be honest with you guys, it still doesn't feel clear to me. This is what I'll say. The timelines are shifting so fast that so many new potentials keep coming in that at this point in time, we still cannot say what's to happen or not happen. It just feels totally unclear. So for those, right, so some people are saying same. For those of you who are psychic, clairvoyant, etc., you might be also feeling this where it's like, this is just really not clear, or I just feel like something else is in the field. I sense that there are one or two more major unexpected events to occur before the timelines can really solidify and anchor into a stronger probable outcome. But what I will say is, although I don't really lean left or right, like in a traditional sense, I do feel that there's an emphasis on feminine leadership right now, which may work in Kamala's favor. Even if you're like, well, she's a Democrat, or I don't rock with Democrats, or like whatever your stance is. The total eclipse that we had this year was the recalibration of the feminine brain and the activation of the new feminine awakening. And so source is just letting me know there is an emphasis on feminine leadership. Now, this depends on her vibration. So if we go back to, 2020, Hillary Clinton was actually supposed to win. That was actually supposed to be the time that we had our first female president in the United States, but she chose to lower her vibration and make some decisions. There's a lot of exposure coming, by the way. Okay, I'm just like, can we say names here? Okay, we can say names. There's some exposure coming with some people. We already got some exposure on Diddy. There's more coming. There's some more exposure, or there is some exposure on Jay-Z coming. There's some exposure on Oprah coming. So what we'll say is, it depends on what Kamala Harris chooses to do with her vibration. And what we mean by that is, when you're operating in these tiers of the matrix, different proposals are made. Different things are put in front of you that you can choose to agree to or not. This is why the timelines aren't really clear. But I do feel that the possibility of her winning to support this feminine leadership that needs to take place. So these are my election thoughts. All around the board, these are my election thoughts. And again, I just want to emphasize, what I want you to take away from this is, I will always have what I need when I need it, and I will always know what I need to know when I need to know it. And that is true abundance, that is true alignment, that is true creatorship, and that is true sovereignty. Much love, guys.